Welcome one, welcome all to Pit Road Productions this lovely Saturday. It's time for the next round of the Almeida Racing League. This season of this league that we've been broadcasting for a few seasons now here on PRP has brought fantastic action in the Spec Racer Ford. And we're looking forward to bringing you this round from the Autodromo José Carlos Paz here at Interlagos, Sao Paulo, Brazil. A fantastic circuit, and I most recently drove the Spec Racer Ford at this track, so it's good to have a bit of a reference for things going forward here. Bringing it to you live both on Pit Road Productions and on Swelio Almeida's channel. Hello to all of you coming from both of these channels. I'm Reese Gardner. Daniel Zippy Salmon is alongside me in the commentary box, and also producing behind the scenes. Zippy, oh boy, Interlagos always provides great action, no matter the racing series, real or virtual. I can't wait to see what these drivers are going to bring us tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I remember the last time we was here with the Almeida Racing Academy, we had the LMP3, and what a start that was. You remember that one? Like, it's been 4 or 5 wide going into turn 1, and we are just absolutely, like, just fireworks were going off in our heads, at least. It was absolutely phenomenal. I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys can do with this Spec Racer Ford. One of my personal favorite cars, certainly. Probably my favorite car on the sim for sure. And you know what? I think it's going to be an interesting track. Certainly, it's quite challenging as well. It's one of those where you definitely got to carry a bit of momentum, I find, and definitely got to be careful with the track limits as well. Some of them, certainly near the end of the course, can be quite troublesome.
Yeah, they certainly can. I remember before the off-track rules at this track were tightened up, people used to go all the way over the curbs into Junção, the final corner. You can't do that anymore, at least you haven't been able to for quite a few seasons now, so I wonder how many laps are going to be invalidated in qualifying, which the drivers are presently in at the moment. But I think, Zippy, before we get into the meat of things, we should look at where we've gone and where we're going.
Indeed, we will. We started off in Montreal before heading to Tsukuba. Watkins Glen. Sebring was round 3, with Watkins Glen being an endurance round there for round 4. Round 5 takes us here, ladies and gentlemen. Autodromo Carlos Pace. And indeed, there is round 6, which has definitely just disappeared too quick for me. VIR for round 7, with Imola at round 8. Personal favourite there. With Road America for round 9. Jerez, as my comrade has taught me how to pronounce, for round 10. There you go. Chicago, ladies and gentlemen, for round 6. You see, even with the fast-moving lips of Daniel Zippy Salmon, I can't keep up with my own slides, ladies and gentlemen. Pure talent there. As you can see there, and it flicks over just again. Winton, there you go, Reese, is going to be the final round indeed.
It will be, and of course, Winton is my home race on this schedule, which will be very interesting. The format for tonight, well, the drivers have already done their 60 minutes of practice, and I hope that that is enough. There's 15 minutes of open qualifying. We're going back to the 3-race format for this round after Watkins Glen was the special round with a bit of an extended run. So randomized invert for race 2, 15 minutes in length for that, and it's randomly set per round. This round it's going to be the top 6 who get inverted, so keep an eye on the battle for 6th place in race 1. The 20-minute feature then follows. The grid is set by heat 2 in that. There's no fast repairs available, so you got to be careful, and it's a fixed setup, so every driver is driving the exact same settings in the session. If you don't like how the car drives, tough, adapt.
Myself, I've always loved a fixed setup, Reese. Don't get me wrong, sometimes you can get in and you're like, this does not drive to my driving style, or words of that effect. And you know what, the thing is, it's the same for everybody, so it literally is a test of student. And sometimes you end up almost in an arms race when it comes to setups, ladies and gentlemen. It can literally be a case of, okay, who's got the most time, who's got the best setup shop, who's got the best at tweaking it. And honestly, fix setup, I find it puts it all down to the driver. And not only that, where this is more of a teaching opportunity here, and it is indeed the academy, it means everybody is on the same playing field.
Yeah, certainly. But in the Spec Racer Ford this season, there has been one runaway driver. I think we should take a look at the championship points while we're at it before we bring you the remainder of qualifying here. Brandon Priest is currently on provisional pole in this session, but Edwin Rivera has been the big winner of this season so far. He leads the championship by well over 100 points versus Ian Joyner, who fortunately over the last couple of rounds has managed to get himself back into the fight for that championship. Jeffrey Adkins is in a different split to these guys, same for Timo Nolte, but Gabriel Ardigo has been one driver who's really been knocking on the door of that challenge for between Rivera, and Joyner, but Ardigo has not had the best of luck through every single round of this championship. He'll be hoping to get some consistent results going, but yeah, having a look down through those standings, it looks to me like we have a very competitive season on our hands, but it's going to be interesting to see if anyone can cut into that lead for Rivera.
Absolutely, he has been an absolute weapon since he got here, Reese. And certainly, as I say that, he's just gone and put himself on the top step of the podium so far, ladies and gentlemen. Edwin Rivera.
Yes, down to a 147.5. That is the big pace here. Zdenek Hamak, who finally visited the podium in the last few rounds, is currently in 2nd place, and he's looking pretty good at the moment. Just set a purple sector there, though he was down in the 1st sector. There's plenty of drivers who are making some great gains here. I see Martin Visser there. The 1st micro sector is purple, so he's likely on a good lap himself. But yeah, we're getting a bit of a tour here around Interlagos in the hands of these drivers through this never-ending staircase of hairpins. I really enjoy that section. You can really send one up the inside there. But what's really important for making a move around this circuit is the run out of this next corner here. This is Junção, the junction that leads you back on to the start-finish stretch. You get on the power all right just there, and you will carry that momentum all the way to turn 1, flat out through these final corners, Zippy. It's a fantastic place to attempt a pass.
Yeah, and we have a little bit of a slipstream train going here. You can see the car ahead is Kevin Adrian. He's gone purple in a couple of sectors. Martin Visser was purple in the 1st sector, purple in the last sector as well. And it's done exactly what he wanted to do. He's put himself up onto P1, ladies and gentlemen. And Kevin Adrian, this is his best as I say that, Martin a little bit over exuberant there going into turn 1. But Kevin Adrian is now not just in P3 overall for qualifying, the best qualifying I've seen him here for the Almeida Racing Academy, or indeed the Almeida Racing League, ladies and gentlemen, but he's also P1 in the club class, ladies and gentlemen. So certainly right now, his nearest competition is Yanis Theophanopoulos, who's currently back there in P10. But the question is, can Theophanopoulos get a good draft? It doesn't look like it. He's currently out there. He's running solo. What about Carlos Fancana? He's out there running solo. What about a new driver here? We've only just seen him for the first time today. Andre Sloboda also running solo. Ladies and gentlemen, these club drivers are going to want to try and find a bit of a slipstream if they want to get near to this man, Kevin Adrian, who's currently now in P4.
Yeah, very good job from Kevin Adrian, and of course, club and pro, unless I've completely messed up that class name once again.
Oh boy.
Both classes here today. Premier.
Close.
That's
Close.
it. Yes. Premier is the top class in this series, and Club is for the sort of lower rated drivers by result. But you got to remember that championship points in this series are not separated by class. So it's great for Kevin Adrian. The more Premier class cars he has between himself and his closest club class competitor, the more points he'll be up for at the end of the day. And Adrian is continuing to go purple in these final sectors. Brandon Priest is having a great run here as well in car number 30. He sits second place as the next sequence of lap times come in here. Kevin Adrian getting set for another lap here. I think he got an off track on that lap, so it didn't officially count. Thomas Noiseau manages to grab a P5 down to a 47.49, but I don't know if anyone can beat that time from Martin Visser without getting one heck of a slipstream. He is currently 0.6 of a second ahead of Brandon Priest there, and the only driver to set a time under 1 minute and 47 seconds in qualifying.
Well, not only that, Race, he's got an absolutely fantastic drafting opportunity there. You see Rich Meester's there almost a little bit in the way, and Visser, honestly, he's just like, I'm sorry, Rich, I'm coming through. And right ahead of him, that is the driver, I believe, of the number 5 car. Just going to have a quick look, see who that is. I think it might be Dominic Sayou, who, don't get me wrong, they've had a little bit of a rough season so far, but honestly, it's just going to be about who can give him the best draft right now, as Edwin Riviera is about 100th of a second behind Brandon Priest for qualifying time. But right now, Kevin Adrian, pretty much unthreatened in the club class. He's resting in P4 overall, P1 in club.
Yes, so let's see if he could make any improvements. It doesn't look like this lap is going to be an improvement for him, but he is following very closely behind Edwin Rivera here. So you're looking at 3rd and 4th in qualifying on the road together at the moment with just over 4 minutes to go in the qualifying session. And Kevin Adrian is going to set this up with a very nice slipstream indeed. Again, it doesn't look like it's going to be an improvement in lap time for Kevin Adrian, but he'll carry that momentum across the start-finish line anyway and move ahead of Edwin Rivera here. Now Rivera can use the slipstream and maybe get that provisional pole back.
Yeah, certainly he's going to be keen, but 0.6 of a second is that's a very generous asking, and honestly, I think Visser was pretty much set up perfectly for it. He had 2 free cars around him. As I say that, Carlos Pacanha has just hit a purple sector.
Yeah, he certainly has. Facania here is, well, this is his home race on the schedule, basically. He is from Brazil. There would be 2 Brazilians in the field if Gabriel Ardigo was with us today, but it appears he is not. So we're going to be missing Ardigo's heroics here today, which is a real shame. Let's see how well the driver of Carlos Facania can fly the flag of Brazil in Sao Paulo. A couple more lap times just came across. I believe that Mark Schmerder just put in a lap time that put himself P17. So those are the only improvements that we're seeing for the moment. And the sectors from everyone at the moment don't seem to be quite what we're expecting for improvements in lap time. We might have to wait just another minute or two to see if anything changes here before the end of the session.
Honestly, the biggest thing with my Spec Racer Ford experience, Reese, is getting the draft. You need to find somebody who's not just ahead of you, but has pace, ideally enough that they're slightly quicker than you, or just enough that you can just stay on the back of their rear wing. I say rear wing. I mean, you get what I'm saying. They kind of have a wing. It's we'll call it a duckbill, ladies and gentlemen. However you want to call it, whatever helps you sleep at night. But certainly, it is looking really good for Kevin Adrian. I'm happy for the guy. He's definitely had a little bit of hard luck. Zdeněk Hamak has been able to move himself up one position over Thomas Nassau, the French driver. As I say that, Nassau crosses the line.
And unfortunately doesn't improve, but Rich Meesters does. He was right behind them all. He got himself P5 out of that, and Manfred Floor, also in this group, ends up setting a time good enough for P7. So that is a great improvement for both of them. That puts Ian Joyner, remember, second in the championship, out of the top 10. Ian Joyner currently sits in 11th place. He'll want to make an improvement here if he wants any chance of improving that, but yeah, I don't think there's enough time in the qualifying session left for him to do so. This being a multi-race server, there's a hard cut to the end of qualifying. Clock hits 0 and you're on a lap, doesn't matter, you're getting booted back to the pits.
Yeah, certainly. It's definitely not the strongest performance I've seen from Ian Joyner before the fellow Englishman, I must add. But right now, Martin Visser, that gap has come down a little bit. Brandon Priest was able to take about a 10th off him, but still, he's got 0.5 of a second ahead. As I say that, Zdeněk Hamak has just gone purple in one of his sectors now. And having a quick look, he's got no one ahead of him either, so this is going to be an absolutely phenomenal drive. See if he can move his way up from P6 overall, further up into the podium area.
Yeah, well, it's Sector 3, the middle sector of the circuit, that's the only real improvement for him there. So, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be an improvement once again. 30 seconds remain in the session. And we'll get things going here to see what he can do on the run up to the line. It is an improvement. He puts himself up to P3. Very nicely done. I wasn't expecting that. That purple sector must have been really strong.
Yeah, maybe he had a little bit of traffic there or something, or he just absolutely had that car dialed in. But what an absolutely fantastic improvement there from Zdeněk Hamak, able to put it up, and surprisingly without a draft as well, as that does indeed bring the end to the qualifying session.
Very late improvement from Javier Sobrino as well. He's going to start in 10th for this first race of the night. Martin Visser on pole position. He'll be very happy with that. So will Brandon Priest, who joins him on the front row. Zdeněk Hamak in third, with Edwin Rivera, the championship leader, rounding out your second row. Kevin Adrian, absolute superstar there in the club class, will start alongside Rich Meesters on the third row. Manfred Floor and Thomas Noiseau your fourth row. Adam Mika and Javier Sobrino will round out your top 10.
As we have a look there at P11, Thomas Niemann, great to see him. He's back there alongside fellow Brit Ian Joyner for P11 and P12 respectively. So we have a look at 13. Yanis Viovanopoulos is going to be there alongside, actually, that might be Dominic Sayou's best qualifying we've seen yet there. The Palestine driver up in P14 with Carlos Bacanha, his home track in 15th there alongside Ilari Arnio, another fellow Finn there with Niemann. Mark Schmerda takes 17th with Mario Strelek, the Croatian driver, in 18th. Andrzej Swoboda, first time we've seen him here today. He's there in 19th with Carlton Howard, closing out your top 20.
Kane Halliburton, resident coach in the servers, going to start 21st place, and it looks like Peter Abrishimov was unable to get a time on the board in qualifying, and it looks like that's going to be just about everybody there in this grid. So not as many cars as we've seen for previous rounds of this series, but I still think this is a great set of drivers that we've got here for the racing at Interlagos today. The timer has hit 0, and the pace car will move away momentarily. Short formation lap option here at Interlagos. They're starting on the entry to Ferradura, which is the double apex right-hander in the infield of this circuit that takes you up towards the hairpin section. Now, have a look at these curves, Zippy. You can use all of them, basically. You can put your car all over those green, white, and yellow striped curbs, but you put wheels beyond them and you will get an off-track. Interlagos still very much an old-school circuit, having opened in 1940.
Yeah, definitely a beautiful historic track as well. Recently on the history side, I'm not even going to go down that avenue. That is definitely more your department. I got enough on my mind with smashing buttons, ladies and gentlemen, and on occasion even hitting the right ones. But we are indeed going to get this race ready to go underway in just a few short moments. I got to say, great qualifying for Visser. I'm hoping he can keep it together, but fair play to him. I'm super proud of Kevin Adrian. Not only that, he's alongside fellow Canadian Rich Meisters. Are we going to see a Canadian lockout potentially try and take on the podium grid?
Yeah, this is the big question. Now, it's the run out of Junsao and towards the start-finish line. It's a pretty short run to turn 1 at Interlagos compared to other FIA Grade 1 venues. So you'll have to hope that you get a good launch here off this rolling start and keep your nose clean on your way into turn 1. These opening corners at this track always provide a recipe for drama. Who that drama will affect is entirely beyond me. We'll have to just take it as it comes. There's the pit entry, pace car in, and here we go. Martin Visser will lead us away as the green flag flies, and we are away for the Almeida Racing League here at Interlagos. And once again, they fan out and go 4, sometimes even 5 wide on their way down to turn 1. But Visser is going to lead the way into the first turn here. Zdenek Hamak manages to grab second off Brandon Priest there. That's him running around the outside at turn 2. And already Kevin Adrian and Edwin Rivera fighting there for the last position in the top 4. They will both pick up the slipstream from Brandon Priest as they come down the Reta Oposta, the back straight here, then to Descida de Lago here at turn 4. This is one of the corners where you can very easily pick up an off track. Don't run beyond that curb on the exit there, and it looks like Brandon Priest might have just done that, so he's already 1 incident in.
Yeah, it's certainly right now. I've got to say, it looked like a really clean start. Considering they're 6 cars wide, that went incredibly well. Edwin Riviera currently down 1 position. Kevin Adrian able to snake one from him at the start, but battles happening throughout. As Peter Brishimov, don't ask me how, he is up an astonishing 12 positions, ladies and gentlemen. What magic is this?
That is crazy from Peter Abrishimov. Fantastic start. And he's already up for the Hard Charger Award if there was one. This is crazy. He's currently up behind Manfred Flor and getting pressured by Thomas Noiseau there in car number 22. Noiseau gets his position back ever so briefly, but Ibrishimov briefly had the door open to the inside there. Adam Mika's going to take advantage of a poor run out of the corner there for Ibrishimov. But man, what a start it has been from car number 17. Still up to 13th place after starting dead last. Very impressive.
Yeah, he's currently the hard charger in the field, and that is including the likes of Kane Halliburton. But I do see a couple of drivers have indeed dropped back. Ilari Arnio, Carlos Facanha, Mario Strelec, all of these drivers dropped back. They're currently at the back of the grid, but we're going to check in a little bit further forward here as Kevin Adrian now looks like he's going toe-to-toe with Edwin Riviera. Yet again, ladies and gentlemen, these guys have been battling since the start.
Indeed they have, and let's see if there's anything more to be done for them, as saw a car running wide there in turn 1 in the background. This is where the battles really start beginning. Hello, Thomas Nivenin here, trying to find his way past Edmund Rivera, who himself is trying to find his way past Rich Meisters, and my goodness, it looks like we have Ian Joyner joining the party as well. This is looking interesting, coming into turn 4. Rivera going to grab 5th place back from Rich Meisters and hopefully get back in touch with Kevin Adrian, but I think this is just a small taste of the battle that is going to come. We're going to be eating good tonight.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I don't know if it's I don't know if so much it's a race at that point. It was more of a wrestling match in that case, racing. It's absolutely insane. But I am seeing there's a crash warning for Peter Abrishimov. I do have to wonder what happened to the driver of the number 17 car. He is now at the very back of the field. We'll have to catch a replay of that in just a few short moments. But right now, Yanis Fiafanopoulos getting into the action as well. He's got Javier Sobrino on his left rear corner, ladies and gentlemen, with Adam Mika just ahead.
He certainly has. Let's see then if there's anything he can do to keep these guys behind him. Yanis loves to drive hard, maintaining that 11th spot for the moment, but Sobrino, Schmerda and Halliburton are up behind him. Don't forget Kane Halliburton is the coach here, and coaches generally qualify, well, they avoid qualifying in the first place and fight up from the back end of the grid. Kane Halliburton has shown that he can make his way through to those top positions pretty easily, but it seems to be a little bit more difficult here at Interlagos. got a couple of updates to make as well, as looks like Rivera's found his way past Adrian. I went back to take a look at Abrishimov's start, and it looks like he might have jumped it. He accelerated a bit earlier than the other cars around him, but that's all much of a muchness in the end, because he was hit by Carlton Howard in turn 1, and that's the reason why you saw that crash warning for him and why he's back there. But for now, we'll keep our eyes peeled on this fight here. Theophanopoulos and Sabrino now side by side out of turn 3.
Yeah, and it looks like the number 19 car is trying to make a move as well. That's Mark Schmurder, ladies and gentlemen. As indeed, we're starting to see this happen a little bit here so far into Lagos. A couple of drivers are actually finding themselves not able to pass because they're literally getting boxed in by the competition. Indeed, as we saw that happen to Ian Joyner. But right now, let's have a look further up as it's Canadian versus Canadian. Beaver versus Beaver, ladies and gentlemen. I know both of these guys. It's fine. As Kevin Adrian and Rich Meesters are indeed going toe-to-toe with Thomas Niemanen, looking to try and get on the action. Ian Joyner right there as well, as Niemanen has to take a little bit of a basic maneuver there, and Joyner says thank you very much despite the damage on the front of that car, makes his way past and up into P7.
Yeah, good stuff from Joyner. He's had it tough in this first race of the day. His qualifying didn't go too well, and he's gotten a couple of dings and dents on the way as well, but we know how talented Ian Joyner is. If he can stick in the slipstream, then he'll surely find his way up a couple more places. Meanwhile, change for the lead. Looks like Zdenek Hamark has found his way past Martin Visser, and that looked like a poor exit out of Junsao there for Visser. And Brandon Priest is going to find his way through to P2 as well. Now the dance begins again. Look at the speed from Brandon Priest. Carries that momentum all the way into the braking zone for turn 1. Can he pull it up? Not quite. Runs wide and lets Hamark back through. And that little bit of side-by-side there, I think, has given Priest the breathing room he needs.
Yeah, that was definitely an absolute monster of a run there. And we got Foster Boss there in the chat saying he would like to see a 30-hour. I gotta be honest, I would personally enjoy doing an endurance race and a spec race of Ford. I will happily pay for the hosting of that if we can get enough interested parties, on the condition that I get to enter it and drive as well. I don't know if we could broadcast it, but I'd certainly like to. Ladies and gentlemen, certainly a 24-hour broadcast is it's going to take some funding. So if you know anybody who wants to sponsor that, by all means, give us a shout. But right now, Edwin Riviera is indeed trying to apply a bit more pressure here to Brandon Priest. I've got to say, Brandon Priest, he's been absolutely on form today. Definitely a good run indeed. And don't get me wrong, he's packing almost 4,300 iRating. We do expect to see greatness, but let's have a little bit of a look further back here as Adam Meeker now trying to apply a bit of pressure there to the back of Thomas Nazu, fighting for P9.
Yeah, so both of these guys are down one position from where they started. So they want to try and make that minus a plus for the moment. But I think Adam Meeker will be happy with the top 10. Hello, there's Rich Meesters that spun around there. It was Meesters spinning at Bico de Pato, the hairpin there. And that has now made it dead even for Noiseau and Mika. How did this happen to Rich Meesters? On the curb? Yes, that inside curb really unsettles you, and it looks like he might have gotten a bit of contact there from Noiseau as he came through. Yeah,
it looks like a couple of drivers give him a little bit of a stiff upper lip, you could say, but let's have a look here with Ian Joyner now, as it looks like he is indeed getting back into the battles. Kevin Adrian and Thomas Niemanen applying the pressure right now. Adam Meeker still getting into the battle there with Nasu further back.
Yes, indeed. Well, this is 5th place we're looking at the moment. Ian Joyner is in the slipstream of Brandon Priest, but he's also getting slipstream from behind. Kevin Adrian and Thomas Niemanen still fighting over 6th for the moment. It looks like Kevin Adrian goes sort of preemptively defensive partway down the straight, but back onto the racing line for turn 4. All of them, I think, getting an off track there. At the very least, Adrian and Niemanen. It is incredibly easy to run wide there at Descida de Lago. The track really narrows up on the way through. See how narrow the track is there on the way up to Ferradura? Yeah, that is Interlagos in a nutshell. It's an old school circuit through and through, and plenty of width changes throughout the lap. You need to be aware of that, and it looks like Halliburton is aware that Noiseau and Mika are getting in each other's way, tripping over each other a little bit. That is Mika getting into the back. Noiseau getting into the back of Mika. And a little bit of oversteer there, but Halliburton wisely backing out of that one.
Yeah, that was definitely a brown flag moment, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly a change of shreddies may have been required there by Thomason. So fair play to him, though. He did manage to hold on, albeit by the skin of his knuckles, ladies and gentlemen. And indeed, Adam Mika still hoping that these guys are going to battle. If Halliburton can keep him busy, it could give Mika a chance to try and get away. But reality is, trying to outrun Kane Halliburton is trying to run away from time, ladies and gentlemen. It's impossible.
Yeah, certainly. Halliburton is inevitable. He is infinite. He is eternal. He is going for the move down the front straight. Carries the slipstream nicely. It looks like Mika's going to blend out of the throttle just slightly here and let him through. Either that or it was one heck of a slipstream from Kane Halliburton. And he is through and clear into turn one. And I think he's going to start walking away from these guys now. His next target will be Thomas Nieminen, but he's going to have 3.5 seconds to make up on him. Meanwhile, further back, battle between Javier Sobrino and Andrei Svoboda for that 14th place, both driving the same color car, so this isn't going to get confusing at all. Side by side down the back straight. Who's going to be last of the late breakers?
Definitely. I think I can work out that Svoboda, I believe, has the green wheels race. I think we're going to have to go off that for the minute. But fair play. You almost wonder if these guys should almost form an alliance, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly the Spec Racer Ford, it does help to have some friends. If you guys work together, can they catch up to P13 ahead of them? Carlos Bacana, who's currently running solo up there behind Mark Schmerler. And actually these guys as well, P11, and indeed, actually they're in different classes as well. Andre Svoboda is a club class driver, so right now he's doing pretty good. P4 and club overall, but Javier Sobrino is going to want to try and find his way up a little bit further. P11 in class.
The lead is on. Zdenek Hamak has held on to the lead for a little bit now, but Martin Visser has gotten a great run of momentum going, and he is right on the back of him coming out of Junsao. Rivera and Priest have caught up as well. Joyner just hanging on in the slipstream there. So we're going to have a 5-way battle for the win, with my timing telling me 3 laps to go, as Visser sees the door open to the left-hand side, and he'll speed his way past Zdenek Hamak. Top speed of 197 kilometers per hour for Hamak into turn one. Meanwhile, for Visser, it was 201. So the slipstream here worth about 4 Ks an hour in speed. Freedom unit users, you can do the conversion yourself. But Visser, he does seem to push really hard out of turn 2, doesn't he? That's not the first time I've seen him catch the grass.
I do have to wonder, Reese, if he's going for the tactical off-track is the best way I could phrase it. Certainly, sometimes you got so many incident points, your safety rating isn't going to be affected. It's kind of like, you know what? If you can come in and your car has to weigh a minimum of this, you make sure it weighs that minimum. Anything over is just wasted opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. But this is indeed the battle from first all the way down to about 5th right now. All of these the Premier Class drivers right now. But Kevin Adrian right now is killing it. He's in P7 overall. His next nearest competition is Yanis Fiafranopoulos, who's P12. So that's going to be a good haul for Kevin Adrian in the Club Class Championship.
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be a big points day for Adrian if he can keep this together. He and Nieminen aren't too far behind these guys. You just saw them slip into the frame there as we were following the front 5 around the hairpin. So there's Kevin Adrian and Thomas Nieminen. And we'll keep an eye on their lap times as well. Let's see. The last lap times for the leaders, 1:47.1 for Visser. But Rivera, Priest, and Joyner were all in the 1:46s. Nieminen and Adrian can't quite match that pace at the moment, so it looks like the front 5 will be driving away from them for now. But seeing them fan out like I am through the final corner, that might change soon.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to see a couple more wide as it just like it's on demand, ladies and gentlemen. Almost seeing 3 wide there for a second. Indeed, the camera can be deceiving, but don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. I am indeed as this cosmetically challenged, however you want to phrase it. It's fair game. I'll take a shot. It's friendly fire, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, Martin Visser, he started on pole. He was having a fantastic race, but Edwin Rivera, I have a feeling he's almost gone and he's hustled these guys a little bit there. I do know from the Spec Racer Ford experience that you do not necessarily always want to be in the lead. The slipstream going down the start-finish straight is absolutely incredible. You're going to want a time when you make that pass for the win.
Yeah, for sure, but with only 1.5 laps remaining at the moment, I think it was a pretty good time for Edwin Rivera to move into the lead. Question is, can he defend that from Hamak, Priest, Joyner, and Visser? Martin at the back of the pack now, having been shuffled back there. Once someone makes a move on you into turn 1, it's very hard to get back online and regain your momentum, but fortunately for Martin Visser, he has 4 cars to take the slipstream off when they get to the front straight once again.
Yeah, but what he does have, Reese, is a cheerleader in Swallow's chat. He's got Foster Boss saying, I'm now rooting for the teal car. Now, unless I'm colorblind and he means someone else, but I'm pretty sure, indeed, Visser, the 137, is indeed driving a teal car, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, I have a feeling he could be in the prime opportunity. The pack is close enough together. We could see a huge fight for this in the closing stages of this first race.
All right, so with 45 seconds remaining on the timer at the moment, it looks like the white flag will be waved when they come across the line. How hard is Edwin Rivera going to defend this from Zdenek Hamak coming into turn 1? Visser has a front row seat to all of this action as Joyner gets some momentum over Brandon Priest and just finds a lane to the outside there. Oh, Rivera and Hamak decided not to go for the move there, and that's a big shuffle. That's Hamak that's been shuffled all the way back to the back of the pack there. Visser gains a free position, Priest stays in third, and Ian Joyner has gotten to the lead, and he's almost out of slipstream range.
Yeah, I don't know what magical unicorn he put in the car for that, but that was fair play. That was a fantastic move, but right now, Edwin Rivera is going to be under pressure. You can see here, almost getting boxed in here. We got cheerleading squad happening, but Ian Joyner, that little snake man, what absolutely fantastic play. He is indeed about a second ahead, and indeed the battle could indeed be for second right now. Brandon Priest, he's holding it there, but he's got Zdenek Hamak right behind him. Visser side by side with Rivera, fighting for P3.
Yeah, it was a great move by Joyner. He went for the inside at turn 1, and Rivera goes for the inside on Hamak there. Oh, and Zdenek gets shuffled wide a little bit, but just enough room to stick it up the inside again. Joyner took advantage of Priest, Hamak, and Visser, I think, all locking their brakes coming into turn 1 and shuffling wide. He was right there to take the spoils, and he leads by 1.1 seconds as they come up to the last corner here. Priest, I think, might be safe in second place for the moment. It all depends on this exit here. And Niemanen and Adrian have caught up to the back of these guys now, slightly wide for Brandon Priest coming out of the final proper corner of this layout. And Niemanen and Adrian will likely go side by side across the line. Second place is definitely going to go side by side. Rivera just getting Priest there on the way up to the line. But Ian Joyner is the one who takes the spoils of victory. The checkered flag will see the number 8 come across the line in P1. Rivera and Priest are your podium. Zdenek Hamak, well, he did get quite a slipstream there, but wasn't quite enough to get himself onto the podium there. Visser, meanwhile, 5th place from pole. I think he'll be mildly disappointed with that, but still, it was great clean battling all the way through. This is how Joyner made the move for the lead.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic move. The door opened on the inside, and he just went, thank you very much, and just sent it through there. And fair play to him, that was. I'd suggest going to buy a lottery ticket if I was you there, Mr. Joyner, because that was hella lucky opportunity there, but I've got to say, skill to go and carry it off, and not only that, managed to maintain that gap. What a fantastic race, Reese.
Yeah, that was a funny view from Joyner's car. Cars were in front of him, and then they weren't. Fantastic job from Ian Joyner. He takes victory in race 1 with Edwin Rivera, Brandon Priest, Zdenek Hamak, and Martin Visser rounding out the top 5. Thomas Niemanen gets the coveted 6th place. Remember, the top 6 get inverted for this round, so he's going to start on pole for race 2. Kevin Adrian winning the club class there. He's got Halliburton, Noiseau, and Mika in between him. Carlos Facania second in the club class. Then it was Schmerda, Theophanopoulos, Sabrino, Svoboda, Arnio, Strelec, Ibrishimov, Howard, and Floor rounding out your top 20. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite as good for Domenico Sayu and Rich Meesters. Meesters gaining a bit too much damage and retiring from the race a few laps from the end. All right, time for race 2, and well, The top 6 inverted, so Niemanen's on pole. Visser is going to get another shot at a win tonight, starting on the front row again, with Hamak and Priest on row 2, and Rivera and Joyner on row 3. From there on back, it's basically where they finished in race 2, which we just said. So, yeah, all you need to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy the race to come. I've got to wonder, drivers that had a great run in race 1, Joyner, I definitely reckon he's going to be in contention for it again. Meanwhile, Manfred Fleur and Rich Meesters, don't forget, they both qualified in the top 7, and they ended up finishing a long way down, so this is their opportunity to fight back now.
Yeah, certainly Meesters is going to be pretty annoyed with himself for that. I always get a little bit of a race report from him afterwards and have a quick read. And it's interesting as well sometimes to hear a driver's perspective. Sometimes we see one view here from the commentary booth, and it's definitely different being out there on the track. I don't know. I'm one of the few people I say who's been lucky enough to do it, but try racing in something while hearing your commentators produce a show. It's one hell of an experience, and it's trippy as anything. But certainly, I do have a couple of ideas that we may have to implement later here in the broadcast for the Almeida Racing Academy, and certainly I do wonder if we start stealing drivers during the race for interviews as well. Certainly, that's something I'd like to get set up if the drivers are up for it, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, we don't want to commentators curse anybody, but you know, it definitely adds a little bit of an extra dynamic here. But not able to steal Connor Bell this week, and that's a little bit of a shame. But wherever you are, Connor, I hope you're doing very well. Certainly, a very busy man, and indeed a very talented driver as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure to check out one of the more recent videos on Swelio's channel where he collaborated with Connor Bell, both Swelio and Connor, drivers who have made the leap from the sim to the real world and doing quite well for themselves. So timer hits 0 and we pull away, and it's going to be basically the same run of show that we're doing to the green flag here. But Nieminen on pole position here. I think this might be the first time that Nieminen has started from the very front for an Almeida event. So this is a big opportunity for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly as I say that, it looks like he's having a little bit of a fight there to keep hold of the front of that pack. It looks like Visser is keen. And certainly Visser had wicked qualifying pace today, but it's fair to say that the drivers around him are definitely no slouches. Even Zdenek Hamak has been absolutely on it today. Joyner, he's up there in the mix. Kevin Adrian as well. He's having a good day. Are we going to see a little bit of a mix around in the order? Is Rich Meesters going to be able to recover as well? What about Carlos Verkenher? Are we going to see him be able to get some podium victories here in his home track? Currently in the P2 for the club class.
Yes, indeed, starting down in 11th place. So definitely a top 10 is on the cards for him if he can keep it together. But now we figure out who's able to maximize the opening turns here at Interlagos and come out of turn 3 with a pace advantage. The slipstream's going to kick in quite early here, so keep your eyes peeled as we come up to the pit entry. Pace car in, and now we see when Nieminen decides to pull the trigger. Do they wait until the green flag, or do they go early? It looks like they're going to wait for the green, and it looks like Nieminen didn't quite get the start he wanted there. He's already under pressure from Zdenek Hamak, who's going to make it 3 wide for the lead on the way into the first turn. Nieminen will try his best to protect the inside, but Rivera's going to sneak round his outside as well, just backing out of it a little bit through the opening corners, but already a runaway leader in Zdenek Hamak, with Martin Visser still challenging Nieminen there for second place on the road. A little bit of contact there, I think. Edwin Rivera is making things a bit difficult. Oh, big contact. Rich Meesters, and it seems Yanis Theophanopoulos getting involved there. So already some drama in the first turn.
Yeah, let's see what happened. It looks like somebody ended up getting caught, Theophanopoulos perhaps, and then absolute chaos, panic and disorder. There's got to be 5 cars wrapped up in that incident there. Definitely not the way you want to have a race start for the second round.
No, certainly not. So Yeah, Theophanopoulos and Meesters, the ones to have to tow back to the pits from that as the race continues up front side by side for Nieminen and Halliburton. Kane has worked his way back up to P6 for the moment. Spin behind, meanwhile. Looks like off track for Mark Schmerder and Javier Sobrino. They came together in the left-hander, and now Sobrino has damage.
Well, indeed, that is not the way you want to start this race, and certainly the Spec Racer Ford is quite susceptible to damage. Usually, if you bump draft these a little bit, it can damage the front nose cone. They can start getting a little bit warm. But let's keep an eye on this guy as well, Peter Brishimov. He's already up 8 positions now. We have to wonder, is it a legitimate up 8 positions, or did he get a little bit keen on the start yet again? He's 2,500 iRating. I figured he'd know how not to do a jump start, but certainly things can be a little bit confusing when the flag drops. But right now, Brandon Priest now is going to be trying to hold off not just Kevin Adrian, but indeed Kane Halliburton as well, as they're going 3 wide.
Well, up the inside goes Halliburton, and it looks like Priest is going to give way to him. Only just up to the apex of turn 1, but he'll have the inside for turn 2. And then Kevin Adrian says, "Thank you very much, I'm going to slip through." I reviewed Brishimov's first lap, and it was totally legit. He was actually the car. He was actually the car right in front of that big lap 1 crash we saw, and he also got 2 free positions when Sobrino and Schmerder had their problems. So let's see how much further Abrishimov can go up as we check out just behind him. Carlos Facania got a Laureano for company and gets up the inside out of Descida de Largo. And he's up into the top 10 as the Brazilian at his home race, but only for an instant of a second, because Laureano has the inside for Ferradura and will move back through. But maximize the curb and the runoff there, and you can definitely move around the outside in this section. That is a bit too wide, though, for Carlos Facania. Now, Carlton Howard will see an opportunity to move through here, but Mark Schmerder is on his back as well. No matter where you are in the field, there is someone attacking you.
Yeah, definitely seeing a couple of over and unders going on here at the Interlagos circuit, but right now we have a 4-way fight, all fighting for that same spot, trying to make it into the top 10. Further up in the field, though, Kevin Adrian now, he's this pack's starting to separate. Now, you got to wonder, is Brandon Priest, is he going to go for a leapfrog maneuver, or is he going to try and give Kevin Adrian a little bit of a bump draft? And, oh, it just teased me there, Brandon. I thought we was going to get a bump draft, but you can see they're absolutely squeezing Adrian there against the wall. Fair play, you can indeed apply a bit of a squeeze as Ian Joyner sneaks it up on the inside.
And this is going to be 2 positions in 1 corner for Joyner if he can pull this off, but Priest is very late on the brakes. Joyner just avoids getting into his quarter there. And, well, now Kevin Adrian has one of the fastest drivers in this field to slipstream off. The winner of the first race, don't forget, was Ian Joyner. Let's see if he can move forward any further. Now Halliburton is a part of this front party and has the fastest lap as well. A 1:47.1 here from our coach, who is now creeping up to the back of the podium.
Well, you say that, we got multiple fields battling, ladies and gentlemen, and indeed the battle for the top 10 is indeed on. As you see, one of the drivers, I think Carlos Pacanha, getting a little bit wide there, but right now, is this going to be the opportunity here for Carlton Howard? I don't know where he's from, ladies and gentlemen, but right now, I can tell you he's in P12. He's got the 2 ahead of him, he's got the 21 ahead of him, and Mark Schmerder right alongside. A little bit of a nudge, a little bit of an elbows out maneuver, but right now, these guys are indeed fighting, and you know what that means as well? Mario Strelec is coming to the party as well.
Haven't given Mario much airtime in this event thus far. What a great time to get onto him. He's got a front row seat to this action. Schmerder up the inside of Ilariano there, and all over the curb is Ilari as well. That'll give Carlton Howard half a chance coming into Junção. Needs to pick the line. It can be very difficult to make the outside line work here, but... Oh, he gave it a red-hot go of it, but it looks like big understeer and off the road for Carlton Howard there. He will fall all the way outside that. Looks like he's got some damage to his front left as well. So that part of the battle is over for him. But Fakaya, Schmerder, Arnio, Strelec, and Nieminen all fighting now over the last position in the top 10. And Nieminen, I'm really surprised to see that he has fallen back so much.
Yeah, definitely not what he had in mind, ladies and gentlemen, but right now he is done but not out. As you can see, there's two cars fighting ahead of him, definitely aggressive on the curve, and I can't say fair play to him. He's definitely going to be a lot quicker than me. 2,796 I rating. We'll just call it 2,800, ladies and gentlemen. I'll give him the 4 points out of sheer talent, but right now you can see here, that is exactly what I'm on about. While he has got the run, he's gone and boxed in his fellow Finland driver and trying to make a move on not just one of them, the pair of them, ladies and gentlemen. As you see, Mark Schmerder there. My apologies, Larry Arneo there, who takes the scenic route off track.
That's going to be another 1x there. We go to the leaders now, and fun fact, I've been looking at them for the last lap or so. They were bump drafting down the Retta Reposta. Just 4 cars in a line, all giving each other a push. I think that's what we're going to be seeing for the most part in this event. Race 1, potentially a bit of an experiment to see how the slipstream games worked, and now they have worked it out, and I think we're going to be seeing a bit of a procession from the front before all of the moves are made in the final lap of the race. But you don't want to be the one at the front of the train giving everyone the benefit. You want to be the one giving them the push. Currently, that honour falls to Kane Albert.
Yeah, certainly you definitely don't want to be at the front of the pack, but where there is no pits involved in this race format today, not one of the endurance rounds. Don't get me wrong, it would have been a really good candidate for it, actually, but that was Watkins Glen, and I believe the other one is Road America, ladies and gentlemen. Both of them will be absolutely fantastic, but this lead pack, I think their biggest concern right now is actually right behind them, with Ian Joyner and co, Brandon Priest, Kevin Adrian, making their way up towards them to make it a 7-way fight, potentially, for the lead.
Yeah, and from what I'm seeing, Joyner, Priest, and Adrian are working together very nicely. I don't see much in the way of big moves from them. The more you run side by side, the more time you cost each other. And if you're trying to chase down a pack of cars who are all slipstreaming each other, you need to work together with those around you. For the moment, the top 2 stay the same, but Halliburton made a bit of a statement there with that move on Visser. I think he wants to try and go for the win here and maybe try and drive away from them. But it's going to be really hard to get out of the clutches of the slipstream here.
Yeah, certainly, and Joyner is definitely getting into that range. It's only 1.5 seconds, but if these guys keep working together and they don't fight, they will catch up. But let's have a look a little bit further back. It is Mark Schmerder. He's been on a really good run so far. Carlos Pacana has definitely been keeping him honest. These two guys going side by side through multiple parts of the circuit.
Yeah, Fakanya knows the road very well, doesn't he? And he's using it to its maximum with Mark Schmerder now on the defensive. It's such an interesting sequence, this hairpin section, because, you know, you obviously want to do the slow in, fast out technique for the best runs between the corners, but mid-corner speed is so important as well. You need a car that turns well in that section of the circuit, otherwise you're going to go nowhere. Well, Fakanya is doing the smart thing here and sticking behind through Junsao. He will get the slipstream, especially with an exit like that. It looks like he might even carry that momentum forward further. Problem is, for Schmerder, does he want that, or would he rather be pushed? Zippy, I understand we've got Rich Meesters in for a chat, one of the more unfortunate drivers today.
Well, Rich, definitely not the day that you've been looking for, but you've had incredible pace. There's still 1 race left to go for this afternoon. What's going to be your strategy in the final race here at Interlagos? Okay, that's definitely one strategy. Rich, turn your mic on.
Earth to Rich.
Ground control to Major Rich. All right, well, we'll leave him there for a minute. Rich, just pipe up and give us a little poke or something when you indeed got your mic there. So you see Edwin Riviera now.
Oh, no, got him.
He's back. Ladies and gentlemen,
yes,
Rich
sorry.
Meesters.
I pushed to talk set on Discord, so I had to make sure I pushed the button.
Well, Rich, definitely not the day you've been looking for so far, but tell us a little bit about what your strategy is going to be for the final race.
You know what? I'm going to be starting from the back, so, you know, try to bide my time like I did the first of this race, but just turned out unfortunate for me. You know, try and stay in the draft as much as possible. If you lose the draft here, you're pretty much done. So, you know, just trying to keep into the draft with the competitors and see if I can pick my way up from the back to a better position.
Well, certainly it is a very valid technique indeed. And I got to wonder as well, yourself and Kevin Adrian, you're both Canadian drivers. Have we been seeing any camaraderie between you two? Certainly in the first race, you guys got to start alongside each other. Have you thought about trying to maybe work together and just, you know, try and look after each other's interests and then go for it in the final couple of laps?
A little bit. I think Kevin and I tend to race pretty hard against each other. It's good in officials when we can cooperate. If we get an opportunity here, I'll definitely take it.
Well, fair play. Ladies and gentlemen, Rich Meesters of the Cool Camel Racing team, if I'm not mistaken. Did I get that right?
Yeah, you got it.
Atta boy. And who said self-praise was a bad thing? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rich Meesters will hopefully see you having a little bit more success in the final race.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of this race, and we'll see you in the feature.
I certainly hope so. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rich Meesters.
Nice to have Rich in here. And, well, we'll let him continue his preparations as Halliburton goes up the inside of Visser again for third place here. As we were talking to Rich, I couldn't help but notice that the other cars had caught up to them. So let's see who ends up getting the win out of these 6 here at the front of the field. There were 7, weren't there? I think Kevin Adrian dropped off the back of these guys. Yeah, he has. He's there in the background there in the red car. I'm not exactly sure what happened to him, but unfortunately, I think he's going to be left behind now. He'll have to settle for that 7th.
Yeah, I think for Kevin Adrian, the biggest concern he has is a little bit further back in Peter Ibrishimov, and he's far enough back where I'd say don't even worry about him. But Mario, oh my gosh, we got a 4-5-way fight happening back here, ladies and gentlemen. The 19, the 13, that is indeed Schmurder, Strelak, and Arnio getting in as well. Dominic Sayu coming into the party as well. A 4-way fight, and it looks like Carlos Facana pretty much just trying to bolt and get away from these guys. He's got 6/10 of a second in the gap, but that's not going to be enough to break the draft.
No, not quite. Needs to nail the exit of Junsao, otherwise these guys are going to be all over him. And we'll have 2 laps to go when they cross the line next. The front of the field is already there, and Halliburton is going for it on Rivera and Hamark. Up the inside at turn 1, Rivera has to let him go. The door is open to the inside for Hamark, but he's not going to be able to walk all the way through. Now, the question is, can Rivera fight back against Halliburton?
Yeah, certainly, I mean, Halliburton knows what he's doing. He's a coach for a very good reason. But look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not much of a dancer, but right now this is a conga line of Spec Racer Fords going, and it's fair to say Kane Halliburton is the head of the chain. As you can see, a couple of these guys sticking a leg out, as that looks like a move there by Ian Joyner, trying to get up on the inside of Martin Visser.
Good move, opportunistic. Managed to get to the apex first, but he's on the outside for Ferradura. This is not the ideal place to be, so Joyner will have to back out of that one and try again, hoping to high heaven that Visser will be able to maintain the pace through the hairpins here and stick with the top 3, because if these 2 groups split, then we're only going to have 3 cars really battling for the victory here. White flag should be coming out next time by, so the drivers don't have much time to sort themselves out here. The battle for Fakanya in 10th place is also starting to intensify. Mark Schmurder is sneaking up on him, and we've got, oh dear, that's Arnio that's gone for a spin, and it looks like he managed to nick Domenico Sayu on the way through as well. Maybe a tiny bit of damage there to the number 5, who now falls behind Fakanya, Schmurder, and Mario Strelec, who moves up into P12. Now Arnio is caught up with Svoboda and Niemanen for the battle for 14th place, but this is the battle for P1. Look at the slipstream that Edwin Rivera has here on Kane Halliburton. He's going to stick behind until the very last possible moment, and they almost go 3 wide on the way into turn 1, and Zdenek Hamark is soaring away at the wheel there to try and keep control of that number 27. Now he's in prime position for a move at Descida de Largo, but how hard is Rivera going to defend this? It looks like Halliburton is starting to run away with this, the battle for the top 3, and you've got to keep an eye out behind as well, because poking his nose out is Martin Visser, but he backs out. And and second and third go side by side through Descida de Largo. Rivera squeezed a little bit to the inside there. Now things are going to intensify as they come up to the twisties.
Well, it is indeed completely boxed in. There's nowhere for Visser to go, and this is where you really got to try and plan your moves. Look for an opportunity there. That is exactly what Visser is doing, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely sneaks it up on the inside there of Rivera. Fair play. It was a gap that was closing, but he was able to get there anyway, and still about half a car length in it. Rivera absolutely mugged of that position. Sneaky, but an object. He fights back!
Brilliant move by Edwin Rivera. That was prime Daniel Ricciardo territory that he had right there. Oh, looks like Halliburton's going to run away with this, but it's all about who's going to finish second, who's going to finish third. Kane Halliburton. Oh, that's very wide there for Zdenek Mark. Visser, Joyner, Rivera, and Priest now all in a line, all fighting. Rivera's been shuffled back to 6th place. The championship leader will miss out on some points here, but Kane Halliburton is going to come away with the win on the track. He'll obviously demote himself, and the real winner is going to be Zdenek Mark from this race. Visser and Joyner crossing the line side by side. They have basically the same gap there. That's 0.02 of a second between Visser and Joyner for third. What a finish.
Absolutely. Let's see if we can get a quick replay here. See if I can try and pick up the point. It's telling me that Visser went off track here, so that must be the off track, but I felt sure he had a little bit. Oh no, he did it self-inflicted, 24.
Yeah, so a little bit of a lock up there for Edwin Rivera. And that's what destroyed his battle for the podium right there. Ilariano, meanwhile, coming into some trouble there on the final lap. I'm not too sure who that was with, but yeah, the Finnish driver not having a great time in race 2 there. He won't be too happy with how that went down. And Mark Schmerder, it looks like, might have lost a few positions as well, but we won't be able to get the replay of that because the session has ticked over. So with that, Halliburton gets the win on the road, and Zdenek Mark and Martin Visser are your podium. Have a look at that gap for Ian Joyner, though. You did this timing is showing it as 1,000th of a second between them. Crazy stuff. Edwin Rivera, meanwhile, only 4/10 behind that. He just beat Brandon Priest to the line. Kevin Adrian takes the win in club once more, with Adam Mika, Peter Abrishimov, and Carlos Facania rounding out your top 10.
As we have a look there at P11, Mario Strelic was able to get in there with Dominic Sayu. That's one of their better results, actually. He's there in P12 with Niemann surprisingly far back in 13th. Andre Svoboda was in 14th with Carlton Howard in 15th. Mark Smurder there in 16th. Manfred Floor taking 17th. Ilari Arneo there in 18th. And Javier Sabrino in 19th with Thomas Nazo closing out your top 20.
Yep, retiring from the race, unfortunately, was Noiseau, and it was the same for Meisters and Theophanopoulos, who both got involved in a crash on the first lap. They didn't even make it to turn 4. So that's unfortunate, but they have one more chance with race 3 coming up. For now, though, we are in warm-up, and it's time for a word from Suelio Almeida.
If you're a racing driver and you want to reach an advanced level, there's a faster and easier way to become competitive. I've gone from this to this in 5 years. Now, we've created the perfect free driver development guide to help you understand the right order of racing skills to develop if you want to become a competitive driver as quickly as possible. This guide was made after 3,000 hours of combined high-level coaching.
Big thanks to Suelio Almeida and the entire crew at the Almeida Racing Academy and Almeida Racing League for bringing us this great competition and for bringing us on board at Pit Road Productions to bring it to the world. Fantastic racing from students of the Almeida Racing Academy. Don't forget that if you are a member of the Academy, if you're learning how to get faster thanks to these guys, you get entry into this league and you get to test your mettle against fellow students and coaches as well. So it's a great learning environment if you want to get better at iRacing.
Absolutely, and indeed a good opportunity as well. Certainly, you can't underestimate the power of a community, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, it's good to have not just somebody to race against and drive against, but these guys literally in their workshops, for example, I've seen them do it. Well, they'll explain a concept. They'll be shown that concept, and then they will go out and try that concept. Like one of the ones I remember watching is basically trying to force your opponent onto the bad line, and it was like. It was kind of irritating in some ways because I'm like, damn it, they're on me. But, absolutely fantastic teaching. But speaking of teaching, Kane, one of the Almeida Academy head coach. Well, you are the head coach, ladies and gentlemen. And Kane, what can be your suggested advice here for driving into Lagos here for this event?
My advice is just try to survive and be there on the final lap. That's all it is, literally. If you try and survive, you'll be in the fight for the win eventually.
Well, definitely strategy is indeed a big part of it, but without that, I mean, strategy is one thing, but having pace as well. So your tip to the students, Kane, certainly you do make a lap guide for these guys as well. What would be the biggest little quick snippet here for being quick around Interlagos?
There's such a variance in the track here. I don't know if there could be a quick snippet. Yeah, focus on exits, I guess, onto the long straights. You know, play it safe on entry. Make sure you get a really good one out.
Well,
yeah, I think straight line speed is a big aspect of racing at Interlagos, but you've also got to make sure that you're 100% on point in those twisty sections as well. That hairpin section can really throw you off. I know from my personal experience, it's the part of the track that I'm the weakest at. So yeah, I think there's a lot of time to be found there too, Kane.
For sure. But that's where the draft comes in. It can help you stick with the faster drivers, right? So as long as you are right behind them, entering those twisty sections, then you'll be good. Just draft straight back up to them on the straights.
All right, well, we'll see how many drivers put that into practice as we are now at the end of warm-up. Kane, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see how far up you can climb in race 3.
Let's see. Thanks.
All right, Kane Halliburton there, head coach at the Almeida Racing Academy. And with that, warm-up is over. We can get into this final 20-minute race to round things off for this round of the Almeida Racing League here at Interlagos. And we'll have Halliburton technically starting on pole position for this one, but I'm sure he's going to fall to the back for the race start. Zdenek Hamak will start in second with Visser and Joyner on row two. Edwin Rivera and Brandon Priest fifth and sixth. Kevin Adrian starts in seventh alongside Adam Mika, with Abrishimov and Fakanya rounding out your top 10.
Actually, that's a great result there for Abrishimov. As we have a look at P11, it's going to be Mario Strelek alongside Dominic Sayu. With in P13, Tumas Niemann there alongside Andre Svoboda, with 15th being Carlton Howard and indeed Mark Schmurder in 16th. Manfred Floor takes 17th with Ilari Arnio in 18th. Javier Sobrino is in 19th for Thomas Nassau. Actually, a little bit further back than we'd like to see. He's there in 20th. Rich Meester's looking to try and make one hell of a recovery drive. He's in 21st with Yanis Theophanopoulos closing out your field for 22 cars.
All right, and I'm happy to see that all 22 drivers in the server have taken part in every session so far. We don't always see that, so really good to see. This is a big opportunity for Zdenek Hamak, because he's tried his best here to get some good results in the mid part of the season. It took him a bit to get the results, but now he's got a really good run going in at the Spec Racer Ford. Kane Halliburton, it looks like, is staying in the pole position for the moment, but we'll wait and see what he does when the race actually gets started. Visser, obviously, qualified on pole for the first race. He had the fastest lap in qualifying, but he has yet to get the result that pace demands. So plenty of stories here that will come to their conclusion in about 20 minutes time. Out of the final proper corner then at Juncel we go. And I think it's going to be our same protagonists in the top 6 as we've seen all day so far. Can Edwin Rivera grab another win here as well? Because he is the championship leader, has yet to be on the top step so far today. Everyone is together on their way up to the sort of standing start grid that we have here at Interlagos. But now comes the jump. Halliburton will control the start here. Green flag flies, and we are away. They put the power down, and it is a much better start from Zdenek Hamak. He is going to assume the lead as they come into turn 1, and they are 5 wide for a brief moment there for second place. Crazy stuff. Halliburton is going to defend the inside of turn 1, but Hamak is going to hold strong briefly. Here comes the opportunity for Ian Joyner. Moves up into second place, and look at the momentum he's carrying.
Absolutely fantastic battles going on so far, and a clean start as well. And it does look like Thomas Nassau has left, and indeed Yanis Theophanopoulos, so definitely a little bit disappointing there, as we do in turn return to the race, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm waiting to see the prediction here from Foster Boss, as yeah, we go 6 wide there from Jake Enns. Yeah, I can believe that, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, I think ARA probably my favorite for how many cars can we get across the track, as Adam Mika now trying to get into a battle back in P9.
Adam Mika and Kevin Adrian both down a position each, because Peter Abrishimov, the Bulgarian, has moved ahead of the both of them here halfway around the first lap. A good run thus far from the man who has gained the most positions so far tonight. Kevin Adrian, meanwhile, trying to focus on getting those tyres up to temperature. Remember, Spec Racer Ford, the tyres start stone cold, and so you have to work them up to temperature. You need to be careful of how the car handles on the first lap, especially on the new tyre model that we're seeing on the GT3s and GT4s. Carlton Howard, meanwhile, a long way back there, and it looks like Visser has run deep out of Junsao as well. This is what happened to Howard. Tried to get the power down, but it looks like he got a tap from another driver there. I'm not sure who that was, but that's not an ideal first lap for him. Visser has fallen back to 11th place as the battle is on between Ian Joyner and Kane Halliburton, and well, he is sticking in the slipstream very nicely on the coach, and his championship rival, Edwin Rivera, is right behind him, but Zdenek Hamak wants to get back onto that podium.
Yeah, that's actually the first time I think I've seen so far this season where one of these guys has gone for the Sammy Hendricks special and do a bump draft. Certainly, Sammy, if you're watching, I am missing the fact that you would literally bump draft anything with wheels, ladies and gentlemen. He did it in Formula cars with a front wing, and he still managed to keep hold of it. So power to him. I definitely do miss those antics. The same has happened with Mario Strelic as well. Further back in the grid, he's fallen back into 19th, as indeed Peter Abrishimov as well. He's fallen back down through the order. We have to take a quick look and find out exactly what happened here in just a few short moments. As right now, Zdenek Hamak really applying pressure there to the back of Edwin Rivera.
Yeah, it certainly is, and well, there's not going to be much of a chance for a move there. He'll have to hope for a mistake from Rivera to get the move done. Behind them, Kevin Adrian just lost 2 places to Mika and Niemanen, but he's working his way back up very quickly. Looks like it's going to be a bit of a procession from the leaders once again. It's all about waiting for that final opportunity. That's how you get it done at Interlagos in these cars. You know, the slower the car is, the more important the slipstream is, I find.
Yeah, absolutely, Reese. And I'm just trying to find exactly what happened to Peter Abrishimov here. I might have found it.
It was at turn 1. Yeah, so it looks like it was at turn 1. Abrishimov. Oh, okay.
Oh, my.
So there was an incident that happened ahead of Kevin Adrian there. I think that is Abrishimov that might have gained that damage. But Abrishimov, on the previous lap, was incredibly deep into turn 1, a bit too deep. He ended up hitting Mario Strelec and really overshot the turn. So that's why he and Strelec came down initially. But Abrishimov gained further damage from that incident we just saw, and he looks like he's going to be going nowhere fast from that. I see that he's just pulled into the pits to repair that damage, so unfortunate to see that though Abrishimov clearly has the pace to work his way up the field, we won't be seeing that from him today. Brandon Priest, meanwhile, he's always been a factor in the top 3 in this broadcast, at least. So we'll see what he can do to hold on to the back of this pack as the top 5 have broken away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, certainly Martin Visser is not going to be happy that he's pretty much stuck in the middle of it himself. Adam Mika, Kevin Adrian, Thomas Niemanen, and indeed Mark Smurda are all indeed going at it there. As you see, that's contact there on Adrian.
Oh, no!
Gets turned around by Smurda, and he is literally sitting duck as he goes into Meesters, ladies and gentlemen. And oh my gosh, the number 2 car as well. That is, that's Carlos Pacana. That's a first.
Seems that the bodywork at the front wants to stay on the car. Can he even see right now? I mean, he's clearly still turning into the corners. I think that might just be on our end. I don't think it's sitting on the front of the car on his end. My goodness, it's almost looking like a dirt modified. There we go. All right, so it's updated, and now poor Carlos Facania He is very slow through Junsao. He is definitely going to have to bring that thing in for repairs. Manfred Floor, I think, also was caught up in that incident. He's towed straight back to pit lane. Will Kevin Adrian come into the pits as well? No, he won't. See, that's the thing about the final turn it into Lagos. Pit entry is the apex, so it can be very hard to tell if someone's actually going for a stop.
Yeah, it looks like Dominic Sayu ended up getting killed in that as well. Absolutely. A couple of mullered cars there as Carlos Pacano has indeed managed to bring it down pit road. Rich Mises was having a good recovery. Don't get me wrong, he's still up 8 positions overall, but definitely not the result he was looking for, getting caught up in that damage. We have a look, though. Doesn't appear to be too bad for Mises. A little bit on each corner. Both of the front wheels now getting shown into the airstream there, but not enough that it's going to stop him and make him retire the car.
Now, he'll hope that he can catch a slipstream off Arnio up ahead of him. Meanwhile, back to the front, Zdenek Hamak has fallen to the back of the train here. Brandon Priest found his way past at some point on this lap, and now he's right on the back of Ian Joyner too, and well in the battle for the top 3. So let's see how long the leaders can keep this momentum up, and if Hamak can actually catch up a little more. He's starting to drop back from those guys. He breaks nice and deep into Junsao and uses all of the curb on the exit. You can put all 4 wheels past the white line on the exit there. It doesn't seem to have granted him much of an exit. These 4 ahead of him now all slipstreaming off each other. They have more straight line speed, and if Hamak doesn't do something, he's going to fall back. Or maybe Halliburton and Rivera will take care of that for him as they go side by side into turn 1. Well, Halliburton is going to back out of it and allow Rivera to take the lead.
Yeah, certainly this is one of those things where, all right, you can fight to your heart's content, but the more that you do, the more cars are going to come into that battle. Don't get me wrong, Adam Mika and co are about 6 seconds back from this lead pack, so it's going to take short of a miracle for these guys to return into the fray here. As you see, Adam Mika there, he's currently in P6 overall, and actually, I've got to say, the top 10 are all being dominated today by the Premier class.
Yeah, they are indeed. I think this is the first time that we've seen Kevin Adrian falling outside of that top 10 today, so a real shame for him, but he got a good haul of points in the first couple of races, so he won't be too unhappy with how his day has gone. Visa, meanwhile, he's been a podium contender the whole event long, and he is far away from that at the moment. Needs to find his way past Adam Mika and maybe try and pull them all along so they can catch up to the top 5, but those guys are looking to be round about 7 seconds ahead of these guys at the moment. So looks like they might have to settle into this battle.
Yeah, I did see Visser was trying to give Mika a little bit of a bump draft there, and it's fair to say it's not working out for him. They're still 7 seconds behind. It was 6 seconds a couple of laps ago. It's not worked for them. If they're going to try and make up some space, it's going to have to be on the start-finish straight, but multiple battles happening throughout. Mark Schmurdo, we saw, it looked like he actually caused the incident with Adrian from what I could see. By all means, correct me if I'm wrong, but has managed to emerge pretty much unscathed from it, and is still having a battle here with Javier Sabrino, who's just going to take him on the inside.
Yep, good stuff from Sabrino. He'll lead into turn 1, and it looks like Ian Joyner and Edwin Rivera are going to win the fight into turn 1 up the front. Kane Halliburton's fallen back to 3rd. And now this is the championship top 2, side by side briefly, and running in our top 2 positions. Joyner and Rivera, the last time I remember them battling this hard was at Montreal, all the way back at round 1. I see a black flag for Domenico Sayu as well. I wonder if he exceeded the incident limit. Here comes Brandon Priest. He gets up the inside of Halliburton now. Sayu comes into the pit lane, and it looks like Halliburton's going to hold it. Around the outside of Descida de Lago, and Zdenek Hamak wonders if there's a chance for him to get up the inside at Ferradura. He has the inside line, but Brandon Priest is a little more aggressive on the way in. Late apexes the double apex. That is how you defend at Ferradura. Very nicely done. But now, another little wrinkle comes into the battle for the lead as we have just passed the halfway point of the race.
Yeah, I had a feeling I've seen a little bit of damage. I do on the front right corner of Brandon Priest as well, so that may affect him in the closing stages of this race. Don't get me wrong, he's got the draft there. That's going to keep him in the mix, but it may stop him being able to slingshot that car to the very top step of the podium.
Yeah, he'll have to basically be following a car the whole time for the next 9.5 minutes, plus however long it takes to complete the final lap. Let's see if there's any chance of him to get past Halliburton into turn 1. The slipstream is picked up, but Halliburton also has the draft off Joyner and Rivera ahead, so they stay as they are for a second, but then Priest's speed starts to build, and Halliburton's left the inside open for him. No, it looks like Priest is going to follow Halliburton there, and round the outside at turn 1 can work very well at Interlagos. Kane Halliburton just proved that. He's back to the lead.
Yeah, certainly, indeed, it looks like Ian Joyner there trying to get a nose up on the inside of Brandon Priest. So indeed, it really is a huge shuffle. Ladies and gentlemen, if this was a deck of cards, I wouldn't know which one I'd be coming next out of the dealer's hand. But right now, these 5 guys are indeed fighting for the top step, as Martin Visser has not been able to pull them any closer. You can see the 2 packs there separated, 7.5 seconds in the gap, but already Ilario Arneo as well, another pack emerging.
Yes, it looks like Arneo is having a nice view of the fight here in front. That's Svoboda, who tried getting up the inside of Schmerder, but it looked like contact on the apex there, and Javier Sobrino had to back out of that himself in the number 4. Now Schmerder is skipping away as they're going to go 3 wide into Ferradura. Surely not. Arneo sees the inside open, and he'll try to get through here on Andre Svoboda. Will he have the cojones to pull off the move under brakes here? Not quite on this occasion, but maybe on a future one. Javier Sobrino unable to really take advantage. It's very hard to actually get a move up the inside when you're so compressed at a slow part of the circuit.
Yeah, definitely this track does really open up some great over-under opportunities there. It's Rich Meesters, albeit with a slightly battered face. At least the car is not his face, but we're trying to catch on to the back of this battle. It's currently up 8 positions overall, but right now, we've got to give this guy a shout out. Andre Svoboda, he is... he's been absent for every race that we've done so far, but currently leading the club class right now. His nearest competition about 15 seconds back in the form of Carlton Howard, who's currently P15 overall.
Indeed. Well, it's looking good for Svoboda. A little further ahead of them, Adam Mika still follows Martin Visser, and Thomas Nieminen continues to hold on to 8th place just behind them. And it looks like some big damage there for Adam Mika on the front of the car as well. That's far from ideal. The top 5 up ahead, looks like that's Hamak and Priest going side by side through turn 4 there. They are still jetting further and further away from that battle for 6th. And now, a little bit of a split forms here. Joyner in 3rd in a bit of no man's land. Priest and Hamak tripping over each other slightly. Meanwhile, Halliburton and Rivera are cooperating nicely in the top 2 positions. They bump drafted the whole way down the start-finish straight.
Yeah, certainly they've got a goal in mind, Reese, and that is to try and get away from the competition behind that is Ian Joyner. Rivera, don't get me wrong, he knows Halliburton's not in it for the points. Halliburton, while able to take a race win potentially, is not competing in the championship, so realistically he's not really a concern. It's more of a potential obstacle, you know, or indeed a potential opportunity for Rivera. If he can pull himself away from Ian Joyner, that could really open up that gap and make it pretty much impossible for Joyner to find his way to the top step of the podium.
Just under 6 minutes to go then, and we're down the start-finish straight once more. Rivera sneaks out of the slipstream for a moment, I think just to arrest his momentum so he doesn't get past Halliburton too early. He is going to pull out and go for the move at turn 1. I wouldn't expect Halliburton to try and fight him too hard on this. He's already passed, and they will continue on as they are into turn 1, but Joyner is still within slipstream range, and he's just staying in touch with them.
Yeah, he's definitely, he's no slouch there, and it looks like Brandon Priest has established that, you know what, my best bet is to stay behind the number 27 car, see if I can maybe give him a little bit of a shunt perhaps. Are we going to see some bump drafting? He's not quite close enough. They're heading towards the braking zone. It definitely would be a high-risk maneuver to do it right now. Yep, lifts up out of it. He's just trying to stay in context with that lead pack. As you can see there, looks like Halliburton going side by side there with Rivera.
Oof. Back to the lead for Kane Halliburton. That was a move at turn 4, and well, that's music to Ian Joyner's ears. He is now part of the battle again for the top 3 places. Man, this is a very intriguing race. Like, I always love seeing the sort of super speedway style fighting that we see here. You know, trying to stay in touch with the cars in front of you, being careful not to be too silly with your moves and cost each other time. It really comes to the fore in cars like this at tracks with long straights like Interlagos. Now Javier Sobrino occupies the final position in the top 10. Schmerder got ahead of him earlier on in the lap, and he's running away once again.
Yeah, fair play to Schmerder. He's currently 1600 IR, 1656, and he is up here in a strength of field that is definitely, it's quite high. Certainly if you look at the top 10, I'd say strength of field very roughly, probably in a 28 to 3000 range, ladies and gentlemen, just doing some very loose math, but it looks like they are indeed fighting again at the front of the pack.
Halliburton's left the door open for Ian Joyner on the inside at turn 1, and the number 8 will go through. Now the battle is once again between Rivera and Joyner for the lead of the race. 3.5 minutes remaining. My timing telling me 3 laps to go. And, man, it just goes to show here just how fast that top 3 is despite battling with each other. Hamak and Priest have fallen back even further. I think they might have lost their opportunity to compete for that podium on the road there.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened, Reese. And so you can see there, Serdar Kamark trying to give Brandon Priest a little bit of a push in the right direction. But honestly, I don't know if he's realized that Priest has got damage to the front of that car. He's going to be compromised going down every single straightaway. And definitely, you'd always want to reverse the order around if they want to try and catch up to that lead pack. As I say that, though, they have managed to pull in very slightly closer by about 0.3 of a second, ladies and gentlemen. Briefly.
Yeah, ever so briefly. But, yeah, they need to be a bit closer than that in order to get the slipstream and get the move done, especially with so little time remaining in the race. You need to be right with them. Now, that is a bit of a wiggle there for Javier Sobrino, and the wiggle's going to continue. Does he hold on to it? Only just. That's going to be Ilariano now side by side to Bico de Pato. The outside line traditionally doesn't work at that corner, at least until you get to the exit. And Arnio has the inside for the downhill. Rich Meesters, another problem there, spinning across the grass. And a little bit more damage. Goodness me, I think Sobrino might have missed his braking point to Junstal there. And he's going to be left behind as a result. Svoboda and Arnio now secure in 10th and 11th for the moment. And yeah, it just looks to me like Sobrino thought maybe he could go for the move. Either that, or he wasn't quite sure of his braking point there. Either way, you run deep like that just before the longest straight on this circuit, or the longest flat-out run, and you're basically done.
Yeah, that's cost him pretty heavily now. Ilariano will indeed be able to get to fight for that top 10. Actually, speaking of hard charges right now, despite his haphazard performance today, ladies and gentlemen, Rich Meesters is indeed the hard charge right now, up 8 positions. Mark Schmerder currently up 7 positions, and Kevin Adrian, very sadly, is, well, I'm pretty sure he's retired at this point, and understandably so.
Yeah.
But Ian Joyner is going back at it for the front of the pack. It's been a three-way fight so far in this closing stages of this race, ladies and gentlemen, as Joyner, Halliburton, and indeed Rivera fighting for the honours of Interlagos.
Well, under a minute remaining, and they're still halfway around the lap here, so this is going to be the penultimate lap of the race. White flag will be out in the flag stand. And keep an eye on Hamak and Priest as well. I mean, honestly, in these slower sections of the circuit, it does look like they've gained a little bit more time, but we'll have to wait and see until they get to the start-finish line, see if they actually have a chance. There is, of course, an infinitesimally small chance that Halliburton, Rivera, and Joyner may come together in some way. They've given us a great show so far. It's been great racing between all of the drivers in our top 3. They've given each other the requisite amount of space, and it's been clean and respectful. But how clean and respectful will it be here coming onto the final lap? Side by side by side, 3 wide across the line. Joyner is going to be the first to the braking zone, but Edwin Rivera is the first to the apex.
Yeah, definitely these guys are indeed fighting, and this is where you've got to have your strategy planned out, ladies and gentlemen. It is not one of those just get past and you're done. The Spec Racer Ford encourages passing, ladies and gentlemen. These cars don't need DRS, they have slipstream, and certainly it makes for very, very close racing. As it looks like Zidane Hammer is still applying the pressure, giving him a little bit of a bump there. They're just trying to get close enough to go and get up to that lead pack. If they can catch that slipstream, it will be absolutely massive for them as Brandon Priest takes to the off track yet again.
Yeah, and that's not resulted in a good run out of turn 4. Hamak's going to keep bump drafting him there up the straights, but I think they'll start to get frustrated here as Halliburton, Joyner, and Rivera in inverse order keep our top 3 positions. Who's going to come away with the final win of the day here at Interlagos? Moves are going to be sparing in this section of the circuit. Overtaking is possible and sometimes encouraged, but when the slipstream's so strong, you'd rather wait until the exit of Junsao to pick up that slipstream. Joyner right in it here versus Rivera. Halliburton almost having a look up the inside of Junsao. And now this is where the race is won and lost. Both Joyner and Rivera maximizing the curb there, but Halliburton is in the box seat for the lead of the race. Joyner picks up the slipstream here from Rivera. Is he going to be able to get alongside and past at the line? That is the question. Halliburton isn't going to give Joyner much assistance. He's going to go side by side with him as well. Joyner and Rivera come together, and oh my God, that is going to be Joyner, actually, finishing in second there to Halliburton. Bit of a coming together there between our top 2. Looked like Rivera was trying to move behind Joyner to maybe push him across the line, but he made the move a little bit too early. Ultimately, I don't think it cost Joyner any positions because Halliburton would likely have crossed the line in first anyway, but that was quite an interesting finish. Top 3 covered by 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, that was definitely a very, very interesting end to that race, Reese, and certainly it was an absolute belter. We've had, I gotta say, we had great interaction from the people here in the chat as well. We've got Boss the Boss saying that's a free race ban for Rivera. Okay, you can see that we just got a volunteer race control, ladies and gentlemen. Fair play to you. I don't want to do that role. I'll stay in the commentary booth. But yeah, it definitely it looked like a spicy incident, but don't get me wrong, the results not having an effect. I do think there was a couple of incidents today that maybe will get reviewed by the shooting team after, but again, that is not a concern for us here in the production booth, ladies and gentlemen, and I am very glad to say it's not up to us to deal with that. Certainly myself, a little bit of an opportunist when it comes to passing, and going to quote Tom Daniels on this one. He'd say, the Dan Salmon Classic. And we're doing endurance racing. To start off being, I'd send it from half a car back. An hour later, it's like, oh, that's a car back, 2 cars back. By the end of the race, I'm sending it apparently from 5 or 6 cars back, ladies and gentlemen. So certainly you can tell what kind of driver I am. A little bit aggressive there. Certainly not on the biggest of pace, but it does look like we may indeed have the results ready here, Reese.
Yes, indeed. So Halliburton wins the final race of the day there. Ian Joyner ahead of Edwin Rivera, and I just want to point out Joyner and Rivera have a lot of respect for each other, and they love having a good race with each other, so I don't think there's going to be any bad blood between them after that. Hamak and Priest will round out your top 5 with Martin Visser down in 6th place. He'll be disappointed with how that final race went for him, but still a great points haul from the day. Adam Mika, Thomas Niemann, and Mark Schmerder will round out your top 9, and top 10 completed by Andrei Svoboda, who wins race 3 in the club class.
Yeah, that's definitely a good way to start your debut here at the Almeida Racing League. As in 11th there, it's going to be Ilari Arnio with Javier Sobrino in 12th. Rich Mises, he was the hard charge of that race, ladies and gentlemen. You wouldn't believe it looking at the front of that car. He was there in 13th with Mario Strelick in 14th. Carlton Howard took 15th with Dominic Sayu in 16th. Carlos Pacanha, not the result he was looking for on home soil. He's there in 17th with Peter Ibrishimov. Definitely an interesting move of today. He's there in 18th with Kevin Adrian. Definitely some hard luck during that third race. 19th with Manfred Floor in 20th, and then I believe they did not run the race. Yanis Theophanopoulos and Thomas Nazo closing out a 22 car grid.
Indeed. So we only had 20 starters there and 17 finishers for the final race of the event. But it looks like we will have Ian Joyner being the first to join us for an interview. Ian, things went interestingly for you there in basically the whole event here today. From 12th to 1st in race 1, it was all about when you picked up the slipstream.
Yeah, it's definitely been a tough one. These all three of them really. Yeah, first one, just qualifying just never worked out. Never really found anyone to work with. Yeah, so just never got a good lap in and ended up 11th. So it was, I mean, anything could happen from here. So I was definitely mostly thinking about survival, but unfortunately got just hit on the front end, and then I think it was just a bunch, like the almost went 4 wide, and yeah, difficult one to avoid really. But that was unfortunate. So I got front end damage. So I really thought going to be in trouble from then. Shout out to Kevin, who didn't fight too much, which helped at least get onto the back of the draft. And then I was definitely a bit of luck on that. I think going into the white flag lap where everyone just sort of stacked up around the outside, and then decided to fight amongst themselves rather than chase my not aerodynamic SRF. So that was all right.
Well, a win, a 4th, and a 2nd from tonight's racing, which I think will become a first once Halliburton is removed from those results. Altogether, a good points haul here, but it looks like as we approach the halfway point of the season, it's going to be difficult to make up that points gap to Edwin.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think drop rounds are definitely going to be a thing. I'm not sure if I've just got one missing versus Edwin. Otherwise, I think our results are really close. I know I've got at least one more drop to come, so I think that'll probably be decided because there's so little in it. But the racing, it's just been great fun. There's a bunch of people. There's great racing all the way through the field, but certainly the top in these cars, it keeps it close. And Kane was, yeah, definitely taking part today. I thought he might sit back and let us get on with it, but no, he was very much in it as well. So yeah, it is just it's so complicated, these fights, when there's multiple cars involved. So, but I think to be honest, I think Kane helped me join the pack as well in the one before. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Indeed. Absolutely. Very fun up here in the comms box as well, Ian. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you at Chicago.
Thanks, guys. See you there.
Ian Joyner there, I think potentially round winner out of that one, but Edwin Rivera is going to join us here. You were back up the front again for all 3 of the races here today, Edwin. But yeah, things got quite interesting, especially in that 20-minute race. It was basically a waiting game, wasn't it? A bit of a Mexican standoff between yourself, Kane, and Ian.
Yeah, pretty much just deciding whether to push or pass. I think that was the case in the second race too. I think if I would have passed Kane on that or made a move on that second race, I would have probably got a better result there too. But yeah, it was fun. Then I wrecked Ian, but I was trying to get some side draft, got a little too close. Maybe he would have gotten Kane at the line too, but he still got the first place points, so good job to him.
Yeah, certainly tightens up the championship battle a little bit going into Chicago, the next round, a street circuit, so you're going to have to be on your toes there.
Yeah, I like street circuits, just close limits. Yeah, I think Ian is leading right now with the drop week we have, so it's getting tight, It's a nice little battle we got going on, and I think that was the focus on the race, pretty much battling Ian, try not to battle the other guys too hard. But it was still a fun race with everybody.
Long may that battle continue, Edwin. Congratulations on your podiums, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you, man.
All right, that's Edwin Rivera and Ian Joyner there with us, Zippy, and that, I think, is going to bring things to an end for this round. Of course, Chicago Street Circuit, the next round. That's going to be a brutal one.
Yeah, definitely myself and street circuits do not always end very well, and certainly Chicago, not one of my more familiar tracks. Don't get me wrong, you put me at Long Beach in Spec Ford, I can spin it there and at least know where I'm spinning. But let's give a huge shout out to the chat today. It's been quite busy on the Pit Road production side. We've had Jake Enns in there as well. We had Rich Meesters in there as well. Rich, as happy as we are to talk to you, we'd rather you were driving, my friend, as he was in there as well. We had a couple of people floating by on Swellio's side as well. We had Foster the Boss absolutely dominating the chat, and they're great having you on board as well. We had a couple of other people stopping in as well. Definitely, ladies and gentlemen, if you are competing in the race, by all means, put this on your Facebook feed or something along those lines. Share it with your friends. We'd love to have them come and watch you race, and indeed talk to us in the chat. We do love interacting with the community, ladies and gentlemen. But I think that's just about it for me, Reese, if you'd like to do the honors.
Yeah, thanks very much, everybody, for joining us on both Pit Road Productions and Swelio Almeida's channel. And we'll see you in 7 days' time for the next round at the Chicago Street Circuit, which will bring us to the halfway point of the season. I'm Reese Gardner, Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the comms box and producing behind the scenes here on Pit Road Productions. Big thanks to the organizers and the drivers for putting on such a fantastic show today. We'll see you next time.
If you're a racing driver and you want to reach an advanced level, there's a faster and easier way to become competitive. I've gone from this to this in 5 years. Now, we've created the perfect free driver development guide to help you understand the right order of racing skills to develop if you want to become a competitive driver as quickly as possible. This guide was made after 3,000 hours of combined high-level coaching.